Well, hi, hello. Thanks for taking the time to click on my video and checking it out. Today I'm introducing myself and talking about my own journey into my UX design career. My name's Rachel. I grew up in a small town in Northern California. The total population was around 15,000 people when I was there. I currently reside in San Jose, California, which has a population of 1,021,795 people. At least in 2019, according to Wikipedia. It's the third most populous city in California after LA and San Diego, and the 10th most populous in the United States. It's considered a hub in Silicon Valley. Anyway, people used to tell me growing up that I was so lucky because I obviously knew what I found my passion, I knew what I wanted to do. I always loved to do drawing or painting or sewing or making photos, making things in general. I love to create. And I even dyed my hair yellow, and I was the president of the art club in high school. I was consistently voted most artistic, but I just felt this overwhelming sense of sticking out like a sore thumb where I lived. Like I didn't belong, that I was kind of this like freak, and I didn't really fit in with this small town country vibe. And that theme of not fitting in or not feeling like something was made for me was really a catalyst for UX design, and it helps me have empathy for how other people feel when they use a product. And I think that that's a really big asset. But why am I even telling you this? Well, I think it's important to know that you're not just where you come from. I think a lot of people get into UX design from other careers. Neither of my parents personally have college degrees, and I wasn't well off when I was growing up. I didn't really think that working in tech was something that would be possible for me. I wasn't good at math, I couldn't be an engineer or anything like that. That's what I told myself. And I had no idea what an HCI degree was when I was applying for colleges. HCI, if you don't know, is an abbreviation for human-computer interaction. Some colleges might call this human factors or offer similar degrees by other names. I don't think that forcing people into thinking that they have to have an ultimate passion and they have to go to college for that passion, and then they have to pick that when they're 18 out of high school and then have that career for the rest of their life is a good system. And there's so many systems in the world. My husband is from India, and they have a stereotype of, being pressured by their parents and their family to be an engineer or a doctor. And I'm sure that there's other systems like that in other cultures and countries that have their own version of that. And if you suffer from this myth of having to have a passion, I highly suggest the book So Good They Can't Ignore You: Why Skills Trump Passion for the Quest of Work You Love by Cal Newport, and the link is in the description. All of the books that I mentioned, the link will be in the description. But anyway, it talks about how people tend to feel more passionately when they have acquired a certain level of mastery, and people like being good at something. If you think about it, it's difficult to do things that you're not good at. It doesn't feel good. And it takes a lot of work and practice to get good at something. So I wish I could tell you that there was an easy way to be successful. And in my experience, that there's just really no shortcuts. And if you want to do a career change and you're thinking about UX design, I think you should want it. You should want it really badly. You should know why you want it. It should be meaningful to you. And I think that people are most successful when they're ready to show up and give 100% consistently. And I know that's really hard in anything, right? But I've seen really amazing results if people can do that. If you want to learn more about how to make better habits so that you can be consistent, I recommend this book. It's been really hot for a while, Atomic Habits by James Clear. So I will link that. And if you want the cure for, I'm not good at math, I can't do X or Y, then the other books that I recommend are Grit by Angela Duckworth and Mindset by Carol Dweck. Actually, I think that should be required reading for basically everybody. But anyway, in my own journey, I felt like when I was in college, I did what everybody told me to do. I attended the College for Fine Art. Even though no major really sat right with me, I didn't really feel like I was a photographer or painter or whatever. So I chose a college that offered an individualized major for interdisciplinary art, which means that you produce your work by going through multiple disciplines. But I graduated with a bachelor's in fine art, and I was ready for my whole life to begin. I didn't really enjoy college. I felt overworked, stressed out, broke. I wasn't really sleeping that well. I wasn't eating really right. And there was just all this pressure to graduate and start my life. And I felt duped. I felt like I graduated and I was lied to. I felt like I worked my butt off and I gave the college tons of money. I wasn't hireable when I graduated though. And I had been living in, such an expensive area when I graduated. It was really a hard moment after I was like, what's next, But that brings me to my next point, which is I think people tend to do very little research about what they want and they just go with their gut impression about what they think that thing is. Like they think, oh, puppies are cute, so you want a puppy, but now you have to think through, okay, but then you gotta feed them, you gotta walk them, clean up after them. And similarly, when you pick your major, it's kind of like, oh, go with your passion. And it's like, okay, well, what am I going to do with that? Is there a company that would hire me for that? Who works there? What's their lifestyle like? What do they do day in, day out? How can I research that? Can I shadow that person? Can I interview them? I think that approach is really beneficial, and I really encourage people to take that approach. I still remember visiting this tech campus at a company that my husband used to work for. And I remember thinking, wow, they have this really nice campus. They used to have this beautiful boat in this like man-made lake or something in the campus. And I remember thinking, nobody sat me down in high school and told me, you could be an engineer and you could work at this beautiful campus and this is how much you get paid and this is what your lifestyle would be like. And maybe that's changing now, but when I graduated, I ended up working this dead-end job, living in one of the most expensive places in America. I had no idea what being financially literate meant. I didn't know what a 401k was. I didn't know what index funds were. I didn't know what a sign-on bonus was. I didn't know what RSUs were. I just knew that I was stuck in a job with a roommate situation that I wanted to get out of. I started seeing postings for these UX roles and did some more research about it. I bought a book about HTML and CSS, which I learned that way. I highly recommend that you learn the basics like that. I also got my hands on the book Don't Make Me Think, which I have here. This is a great book if anybody's interested in UX design. The other one that I really liked is The Design of Everyday Things, also The Psychology of Everyday Things. These are classic books in UX design. They're really good. I highly recommend them. And they made things click in my mind and made me realize that UX was the right decision for me. I was really excited about it, but I was still clueless and I was stuck. I didn't know what I didn't know, and I was trying to apply for UX jobs with no portfolio, no experience, and I eventually took a series of jobs that took advantage of my time and hardly paid me. I worked in a really toxic environment. I can cover this in another video, but I think it's really typical for people that are trying to get experience to subject themselves to those kind of environments. But I made the decision to attend this UX boot camp while working part-time, and it was online so I could do it remotely. I didn't have to quit my job. This boot camp had a money-back tuition, so if I graduated, I could look for 6 months, and then if I didn't get anything, I could get my money back, which is exactly what happened, because I felt that I was getting a lot of rejection after the boot camp, and I think it had a lot to do with the experience level. And I can talk about how to choose the right boot camp for you at a different video. And while I was going through this amazing amount of rejection for finding a job after this boot camp, I was also trying to plan my wedding. It was a terribly stressful time, and I remember this call with a recruiter from a company I won't name, and they were really nasty to me, and I don't even know why we had this call, because she was basically like, "You're not bringing anything to the table. Most of our candidates have master's degrees in HCI from big colleges, and you don't really have experience. You're not a good fit." I'm like, why are we even talking then? But I got off the call and I cried, man. I was done. I was so crippled with the rejection. And I literally, the next day, was talking on the phone with a Google recruiter. And she told me like the exact opposite. She was like, "I love your background. I love your portfolio." She wanted to talk to me about interviewing with Google. So eventually I ended up getting my tuition back from the boot camp, and the next month I landed my first contract with Google. And they were a client with me for on and off for about 2 years before I left them for my current role as a senior product designer at ServiceNow. So throughout the whole time I had been mentoring students online in similar boot camps that I had taken. And I realized that these students were just amazing. They were just such a great group of people. I really valued what they have to say. If you're watching, I love you. Talk to me. I'm just so happy that you're here. But I was really hurt when they graduated or they dropped out, and I had no idea really what became of them. And I also had my own opinions that weren't always aligned with whatever the boot camp was teaching. So I decided I wanted to branch out and have my own impact on the UX community, which is why I started this YouTube channel in the first place. So my UX superpower is not fitting in, helps me empathize with others. What's your UX superpower? Tell me in the comments below. You can also comment what kind of content you'd like to see me make in the future. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in another video soon. Bye!